So hello everyone and welcome. I'm here again with another artist interview that's part of our Art Connects exhibition, which is part of the ongoing artist interview series highlighting the artists that are a part of that exhibition. It's in conjunction with Great Falls Public Schools and CM Russell Museum staff. And so I am here with Jim Jewett, who is an employee here at the CM Russell Museum. So I'm going to ask Jim to tell me a little bit about his work here at the museum and what he does as an artist.
My name is Jim Jewett. I've been at the museum here for 14 years in the security department. I get to work with nice people and look at great art all day. And thanks for including me again this year. I work mostly in oil, some charcoal and pencil. Why I chose oil, I don't know. I think it's because you can get almost any effect in oil paint that you can get in any other medium. And it suits the way I work. I'm slow. Sometimes I work on something for 6 months before I consider it finished.
Why do you like 2D art mediums like drawing and oil and painting?
I'm self-taught. I've been at this a long time. And I've wasted a lot of time trying to reinvent the wheel with materials. And finally, I just gravitated toward time-tested medium. It's just easier. Everyone else has done the work before me. If I'd gone to school, I would have learned that the first week. But it took me like 30 years. But like I said, it suits my way of working. I'll work on something for an hour, put it somewhere where I can see it every day, and every time I walk past it, I see something that needs correcting. And one day I'll walk past it, and it looks like somebody else has done it, and I'll know it's finished.
So what influences the art that you make?
Other paintings. Everyone says that nature or the world or something inspires them. That's never inspired me. It's always looking at something somebody else did and saying, I can do that. Artists in particular, the realists, like Andrew Wyeth is one of my favorites, Norman Rockwell, a lot of illustrators. If you look at illustrators, especially today, I think all the exciting things are happening in illustration. Even with computer graphics, there's a lot of cheats built into those systems, but still people are doing some good stuff.
And Charlie Russell considered himself an illustrator.
Mm-hmm.
Does that play into the reason you chose to work here at all?
I wasn't really a fan of Western art until I came here and got to look at his stuff every day. And it's frustrating because he had such an idiosyncratic technique. He never did anything the same way twice. And you can look at some passages in his paintings and say they look rudimentary and naive, and then right next to it is something brilliant. And you wonder how he did, if he planned that or if it was just something he couldn't help. But it's fun to look at.
You said you like to look at other people's work as inspiration for your artwork. And I also noticed you have a lot of humor in your art.
I can't help that.
I was wondering, if there's a process you follow, your creative process, how do you go from start to finish on a piece of artwork?
I don't know where ideas come from. They evolve usually. Somewhere along the way, humor in general in life makes it more tolerable. When I look at anything, I can find humor in it. A couple of years ago, I went through chemotherapy, and I was making jokes about it to myself, which made that tolerable. And if you look around you today, there's, as bad as people think it is, it's funny to me.
What piece of advice would you give to young artists or aspiring artists?
Develop a thick skin and get a job, because if you don't have a financial foundation to your life, following your dreams can take you to some very dark places. And develop a thick skin, because myself, especially when I was younger, I didn't take criticism well. And back in the early 80s, I showed some of my work to a museum director. He had nothing nice to say, and I didn't show my work again for 21 years. So that's just lost time. Don't worry about what other people say.
As you know, the reason we're doing this exhibition online is because here at the museum we had to close for several months to the public because of COVID-19, especially during the planning process, because exhibitions take a long time to plan. We couldn't guarantee that this would be something we could put on our walls. And so that's why we decided to do it online. COVID-19 affected us as an art museum and our exhibition as an artist exhibition, and how we had to hold it. Has COVID-19 affected you as an artist in any way, or where you work?
Not really. I've always worked from home, and I've always, except for the mask, I've always lived like this, so it hasn't affected me that way. And at my age, I don't really worry about it. In my former career, I was a barber for 30 years. I always had my easel right there in my barber shop. I always said when I finally gave a good haircut, I'd quit.
It took 30 years.
Yeah. I finally got it now. So a lot of my early paintings have hair in them.
I think it's probably one of those things where, like, for example, Georgia O'Keeffe said about painting that you have to take time to look. And I had an art professor who said it's all about just creating art is just about looking and observing and using those to translate it into the most realistic drawing you can. And I imagine if you're constantly seeing hair, you know of all the nuances of it and just kind of how it shines and what it looks like. And I can see that just translating into a drawing.
And hair color, that's a problem for a lot of painters. And really, there's only two colors of hair, black and red, in combinations of those two. But you have to forget what color a thing actually is and concentrate on what it looks like.
Is there anything else you'd like to add that I haven't asked you here today?
Just thanks again for letting me in on this issue.
It has been a pleasure to have you in the exhibition this year and the last few years, because you're very talented and a very talented artist, and your humor that you see in the world is definitely reflected in the artwork that you make, and it's nice to be able to look at and for others to be able to see. So thank you.
And I'll try and lay off Rembrandt in the future. I have to apologize to Rembrandt, who's the painting I did that from. It's called Aristotle Contemplating the Bust of Homer. And so I'd like to apologize to Rembrandt and Aristotle and Homer and busts.